Welcome to the When in Robes podcast. This is the only show where you don't need clothes to travel the world. I'm Carly Konsker, your host and personal travel guide. Let's do the damn thing. Hello, hello. Welcome back to When in Robes. Today, I am with the amazing Tiffanie Davis, YouTuber and founder of Tiffanie Davis, LLC. She is taking your dreams of living abroad and making it a reality, giving you the tools and content that you've always wanted and never knew you needed. Honestly, her content's amazing. I'm a huge fan. Welcome, Tiffanie.
Thank you for having me.
So Tiffanie is legitimately a real life Emily in Paris, but way cooler, I think. I think that your content is out of this world. I absolutely love it. I am coming to you guys from Aspen, Colorado. I'm at the St. Regis Hotel, and Tiffanie is coming to you from Paris. So my first question is, how is it there with COVID? Like, how is the lockdown? Are you guys still on lockdown? What's the deal there?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So we're actually not on lockdown right now. Our lockdown lifted on December 15th, but there is, word on the street is that we might be going into a third lockdown, which would be crazy.
No.
Because cases still aren't where they should be. Like, our cases are still pretty high, but I will say people are kind of still out, like going grocery shopping, going to stores, but restaurants are closed. They were supposed to open back up on January 20th, but I think just because it's still so bad, they're not going to open. So yeah.
Are they having outdoor dining or just no indoor dining or pick up anything?
So they're not open for dining in at all, but we can do takeaway and pick up and things like that. So.
Wow. Okay. So have you been cooking a lot?
I've been cooking so much, but thank God for like Uber Eats and Deliveroo, because I also do like takeout a lot. But yeah, I have definitely been cooking more than I used to.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. So you moved to Paris in 2017. Why Paris? How did you choose where you were going to move? Was it only Paris, or were you deciding between different places?
So for me, it was only Paris. And I actually moved specifically to get my MBA. So I had a mentor at the time who had told me, like, Tiff, you really want to make it in the beauty or fashion industries, you have to get your MBA in France. And that's honestly what led me to Paris. I was living in New York, stuck at a job that I was less than thrilled about. And was like, I'm ready for a change. I'm craving an international experience. And, once I made the decision, the ball started rolling. And that's really what led me to Paris.
That's incredible. So how long was the MBA in Paris? How long was the program?
Sure. So the MBA, it was 1 year. So it was a 12-month intensive program, which I actually kind of liked because, in the United States, like usually MBAs are 2 years long.
Right.
I liked that it was shorter. I liked that it was, intensive. We also traveled a lot with the MBA. And I was like, listen, if I can just get it done in 1 year, like I'm all for it.
So what was one of your favorite places that you traveled to during the program? Or just or you could say in general, like, honestly, I'll listen to it all.
Okay. So many places. I'll give you two, because during the program, I loved Hong Kong. And it's crazy. Like, I wasn't expecting to love Hong Kong as much as I did. Like, I was actually a bit nervous about going there. Like, I didn't really know what to expect, but I loved it. Like, the nightlife there is insane. The food is so good, and it's super international. International. So Hong Kong was super fun. And then another place that I've loved is Greece. So me and my best friend actually went to Greece last year for my birthday. So that was really nice. I love Greece.
Where in Greece did you guys go?
So we went to Mykonos and Santorini.
Okay. So I went to Greece, I think it must have been like 2 to 3 years, probably 3 years ago at this point, but it feels like yesterday. Mm-hmm. My mom actually met me there, and we started in Athens just for the night, then Santorini. We were supposed to go to Mykonos, and like, I've been dying to go to Mykonos forever. I'm like, I want to go party. I want to have fun. Like, I want to have the best time ever. There was a Mediterranean hurricane. Who knows, like, that even existed, a Mediterranean hurricane. Right. And I got stuck in Santorini which is honestly not the worst thing in the world, but I didn't get to Mykonos. I was devastated, but I'm so jealous that you went to Mykonos. What was your favorite like place to like go out or party or whatever in Mykonos?
So it's funny, like, I'm not a big partier at all. Okay. Like, I'm more into like food and eating and all of those things.
I fully support that.
Yes. And I cannot remember the name of this place, but it was very well known, but also kind of like a hole in the wall. And they had
Okay.
the best like pitas. They had the best, like, oh my
Yum.
gosh, I had never had a better pita in my entire life. Like me and my friend literally just kept going back to that place because it was that good. So yeah, that was one of the best places that I ate at. I wish I could remember the name, but it was so good. I think the Airbnb, the owner of the Airbnb that we were staying at had recommended it, and it was so, so good.
Oh, I love that. Did you like staying in an Airbnb versus a hotel?
I did, and especially because the Airbnb that we stayed at in Mykonos, it was literally like right in the center of town, which was really,
Oh,
really
that's
nice.
great location.
Yeah, so we could like walk to everything. Like we could walk to all of the restaurants, all the shops, but also had like a pool, which was really nice.
So
So I
nice.
liked it.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I have to go back to Mykonos someday. My friends and I are
Yeah,
like, as soon as this pandemic's over, like, get me a vaccine, get me on a plane, and let me go
right.
travel again. It's,
Yeah, totally.
but so you're in Paris, you do
Mhm.
your MBA, and then you start working in Paris, right?
Mhm, mhm.
What was the experience like coming from New York where you didn't love your job and now working in Paris and like not necessarily being fluent in the language? What
Mhm.
was that experience like for you?
So there was definitely a transition, like there was definitely a learning curve. Thankfully, so I was working in the luxury beauty industry, and thankfully the role that I had, it was an English speaking role. But
Okay.
everyone on the team was French.
Okay.
So it was really hard at times because like my boss would say things that I think she was trying to like say in English, but she was saying them in French. And I'd be like, I don't know what you're saying. So like things like that
A
happen all
language
the
barrier.
Yes, like there was definitely a language barrier. And then also, just at happy hour. So here in Paris, they call them like afterworks. More
Okay.
often than not, everyone was speaking French, like no one was speaking English. So
Oh,
I was just
wow.
kind of like, oh, this is awkward. Or, like if there was a goodbye party or anything like that, like everyone was just speaking French. And there was one person on the team who was from Ireland who also didn't speak French. So like we ended up
Okay.
becoming like really good friends. But yeah,
That's
that was
amazing.
definitely
You lucked out with that
yeah.
one.
I definitely lucked out with that one. But in terms of the work environment, I mean, there were things that were different. Like, for example, there are so many breaks throughout the day. Like, people take multiple coffee breaks, multiple
Oh,
smoke
interesting.
breaks. And when you go to lunch, it's like you can't just eat at your desk. You actually have to go to the cafeteria or like go outside and eat, which for me, like coming from someone who was working in PR in New York City, it's like we were
Completely.
always eating at our desks. So that was very different. I will say the hustle was definitely still there. Like there were nights where
Okay.
I'd work until like 9 p.m., which also made it very difficult to learn the language, I have to say, because my job did allow for like French lessons, but like you could
Oh,
only
wow.
take them during the day. And I'm like, dang, if I have meetings back to back all day, like when am I supposed to learn the language? So that was really tough
So
for
are you
sure.
fluent now?
Still working on it. Girl,
Okay.
this language is so hard. It's so hard. But I actually just started a program where I have to take lessons 15 days a month. So basically
Oh,
every other
wow.
day. So it's like an intensive course. So I'm really excited about that. But this language is tough. I'm not going to lie. It's a very tough effort.
You will be fluent in no time with this new program. I like took Spanish like in high school and in college, and I was like, I can get by if I like go somewhere that's Spanish speaking, but I can never like if they speak really fast, like I would not understand a word that they said.
Right. And that was kind of like me because for me coming here, I had taken French in high school, I had
Mm.
taken French in college. So it's like I had the basics, but like if some random person on the street started talking to me, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying. So I totally feel you.
What was it like dating in Paris, not necessarily knowing the language very well? And even just like did you meet people like pre-COVID? Did you meet people just going out like at bars, restaurants, or are there certain apps that are more popular in Paris?
Sure. So I want to say like my first year and a half here, I was on like all the apps. Like I was like, let's
Okay.
just have fun. So I was on Bumble, I was on Happen. So I'm not sure if
What's
they have Happen in the
happened?
United States. Oh my gosh. Honestly, like I do not like this app. Do not recommend it. I think it's actually really creepy, but it's an app that a lot of people use out here. And it's basically like you can be like around Paris and it will show you like who you're passing throughout the day, which I thought was really creepy. It's like
That's
you could
so
go home.
creepy.
so creepy because it's like you could go home and it would be like, okay, like you just passed so and so when you were at the Eiffel Tower. And it's like, wait, if, I'm in an area close to my job, like, will people start to know that I hang out in that area?
Will
You
they
know
like
what I
stalk
mean?
you? Like that's so
Exactly. Like,
scary.
it's so creepy. So I was only on it for a little bit. Did meet a guy through there, and girl, when I tell you these Frenchmen out here, like
Wait, I want to
they
hear it
move,
all.
they move so fast. So I had gone on one date with this guy, and then a month later, like went on another date with him.
Right.
And on the second date, he was like, "Okay, so like I want to be with you," and I'm like, "Wait,
Excuse
this
me?
is
Like I don't
second
know
date."
you. You're a stranger.
Exactly. Like, I don't know you. This is our second date. I was like, at that time, I wasn't even sure if I was going to stay in Paris. I was like, my MBA program goes until September. I don't know what's going to happen after it. And he was just like, I'm willing to take the risk and all of this stuff. And I was just
You're
like,
like, this is our second
way
date. Slow
exactly.
your
I was
roll.
like, this is way too fast. But actually, after that, and just after like talking to a lot of French friends, they had told me that like here it is, people do get into relationships a lot quicker. Like usually if you date a guy, it's usually more so after 3 to 5 dates. If you're dating someone, you're automatically that person's girlfriend. Like if you kiss
No
him, you're
way.
automatically the girlfriend. And I'm just like, well, this is very different from what I experienced in America. Because you could be dating a guy for like a month and a half and still not be
You could be
official.
dating a guy for 4 months and still not be exclusive.
Exactly. So it's very different. The dating scene out here is very, very different. Oh my gosh, I dated this guy. Well, not really dated. I mean, we went on like 2 to 3 dates.
He might have thought you dated, but
He might have thought we dated, but and I remember we were sitting down and just like talking, and he was just like, "Yeah, well, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, so," and I'm just like, "So what?
so
Like,
what are you trying to say?
what does that mean?" And then I had a really good friend, a guy friend who had come to Paris, I think like that week before, and posted a picture of us. This guy, the guy that I was on a date with, somehow found that picture and was stalking my friend, thinking that like we were in
No.
a relationship or something. And I was just like, this is really weird.
That is
Really
too
weird.
intense too quickly.
Too intense. So not to scare you guys about dating in France or anything like that, but just know that like people do move fast here.
Do you find that the guys, like the quality of guys are like, are you attracted to the guys that are there?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some French guys out here where I'm just like, damn, like,
Like you're
but
gorgeous.
exactly. But like, I feel like it's hit or miss. Like, I almost feel like it's the same as in the States. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you see like a cute guy here and there, but it's not like I walk outside and everywhere there's like hot men. Like,
It's not like Emily in Paris where every
not
single
like
guy she meets is so hot.
it's not like Emily in Paris, but like there are some really cute guys out here for sure.
Oh my gosh. Maybe I have to move to Paris to find someone. Very
Yeah.
single, ready to mingle.
Yes.
So when you did like go on dates, was there a language barrier at all? Or like did most of the guys like speak English?
Some spoke English, some didn't, but I actually have a funny story about that because there was this one guy that I met like through an app and he was texting me in English. But then when I got to the date, like he could not speak a word of English. And I was just like,
Oh, you got bamboozled for sure.
This is awkward. Right. Like I was like, oh, what's going on? And it's like, I mean, no shame because it's France. So it's like, it's not like I expect you to speak English. I should be speaking French. But I just thought it was kind of like, oh, wait, but we were texting in English and now.
You were totally played. You were totally played. That is honestly, if I showed up to a date and someone just didn't speak the language they were texting me in, I'd be like, sorry, like I literally just got catfished.
Right. That's like how I felt. I was like, this is kind of weird. So
that's wild. What did you do? Did you just sit there? Like how did you guys talk?
Like he was, like trying, like speaking kind of broken English. Like we both had like Google Translate out. Like it was a hot mess. I was just like, what is happening right now?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So did you watch Emily in Paris?
I watched Emily in Paris. I did.
Did you like it? Did you think some of it was like realistic or it was just like a fun show?
So for me, it was a cute show. It was a fun show. Like there are so many people who are bashing the show because it doesn't show real Paris. And I do have to say, like, there are things about the show that aren't necessarily true. Right. But I took it as like a fun, cute show to watch. I wasn't watching it like, oh my gosh, this is going to show me real life Paris. Because it's like Sex in the City. I mean, that wasn't the New York City
for entertainment.
Exactly. Like I wish I lived the Sex in like New York City, like it
Oh
was
my
Sex in
God.
the City, but that wasn't my life. But at the same time, it's like she did go through a lot of things that I actually have experienced living in Paris as an expat. I do think that some things were a bit cliche, some things were a bit over the top, but there were things that I actually experienced as an expat living here. So,
What was like one thing that you felt like that you could relate to in the show?
oh, there were so many things. I think for one, and this kind of goes back to the language,
Right.
I have found that like whenever I try to speak French, people will automatically switch into English. And I feel like that was something that happened with her a lot on the show. And a
Completely.
lot of people were like, that would never happen. Like French people wouldn't just switch into English. But that has been my experience. Like people actually have just switched into English for
They're
me.
like, you're not great at French, so we're just going to speak
Exactly.
your language.
Exactly. So that's definitely one thing that I feel like was true for me as an expat living here.
It's so interesting. So obviously still in pandemic,
Mhm.
still COVID, even though you guys aren't on lockdown still, which is so lucky. What is the next place like on your bucket list that you want to travel to?
India, and actually,
Wow.
yeah, and actually right before the pandemic started, I was in the process of booking my trip to India because one of my best friends lives there. And
Amazing.
yeah, and me and my other friend were gonna go meet her and celebrate her birthday and all of this stuff. Literally, I was like at the visa office, like trying to renew my visa and everything like that, and the pandemic happened. And
Oh,
I was like, great. So like this trip isn't gonna happen. So I'm still waiting to take that trip. I definitely think it's gonna be the next place that I go.
maybe 2022
I
or
know,
end of 2021. Who
right?
knows?
Let's
But
see.
that would be incredible. I've never been to India, but that would be such a cool, like, cultural experience and such an incredible trip
For
for
sure.
sure. So, for you, what is your favorite trip of all time or hotel of all time or both?
Oh my gosh, I have so many favorite trips. This is so hard.
You can give me like a top three if you want.
Okay. So I loved Bali. Like going to Bali was
Oh,
such an amazing experience. And when I went, I only did Ubud and Canggu. So I definitely want to go back and see more
yeah.
for sure. So Bali, hands down, was absolutely amazing. Hong Kong, again, was also really cool. And then I guess Greece. I guess that those are my top three, which I guess I've talked about all of those anyways. But yeah, those are my top three. So Bali, Hong Kong, and Greece.
I love that. You probably follow a lot of travel people, I assume. What's one like travel Instagram or person or blogger that you recommend that we follow?
So I love Spirited Pursuit.
Okay.
She's super cool. She's this Black girl living in Senegal.
Oh, wow.
And her pictures are absolutely amazing. She has really, really cool content. So highly recommend her.
We'll have to check her out. Maybe we'll have her on the show if she's available. Okay. So for roving after dark, I always ask people what's their favorite places in the city that they're in for nightlife, restaurants, go-to places, what you have to check out. So,
Okay.
what would you say like is a go-to place like for nightlife in Paris?
Sure. So I love Comptoir General. So it's right around Republique, which is around like
Ooh,
the 11th arrondissement. And
yeah.
it's super cool. It's like, it's one of those places that it's like laid back. Like you don't have to like dress up and glam from head to toe, but they play
Oh,
awesome music. It's a
oh,
really cool layout. The vibes are always so cool. So I love going there for, I guess like after dark, I guess you could say.
After dark. I
After
love a
dark.
place that has amazing music where I can dance. Like, I'm just dying to
Yeah,
get back to like, I just want to dance with my friends, have a drink, have a good time,
right.
like without having to worry about getting sick. Like, that's all I
Exactly.
want.
Right.
What about like restaurants? Do you have a favorite restaurant or favorite like place that you would take your friends if they came to visit?
I'm all about brunch. I love a good brunch. And there's this
Maybe
place
like a
called Sunday
boozy
and
brunch?
yeah, they actually don't do a lot of boozy brunches in Paris. Like, you know how in the States it's like it's all about mimosas? Here it's like there are only a few places where yes, you have your
I
mimosa.
have my mimosas because
Oh
the hotel
my
was like, we're gonna comp you, and they gave me a make your own mimosa basically kit over there, and I was like,
Oh my
okay,
gosh,
so
I love it.
cheers.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, it's not a huge thing out here, but there are a few restaurants that do serve mimosas. So there's this one place called Sunday in Soho. It's actually a Black-owned restaurant owned by a Black guy that actually also moved from New York City to Paris,
Oh,
which I thought was
wow.
really cool. Yeah, so it's this place called Sunday in Soho. I love their brunch. It's so good. You can get mimosas there. You can get your matcha lattes there. The menu is just amazing. So whenever my friends come, like that's the place that I take them to.
I love it. What's like the one touristy thing that you say like you have to do or non-touristy thing that like people wouldn't know to go see when they're in Paris that you think that they should?
Sure. So there's this place called Les Deux Plateaux, which I don't think a lot of people know about, but it is technically like a touristy place. And it's so cool. It's like the most amazing picture taking moment in Paris. It's right by Palais Royal. And it's like they have these columns that are black and white. And it's so beautiful. Like I love
It
that
sounds
area of
gorgeous.
Paris. Yeah. And somewhere that I highly recommend people visiting when they come to Paris.
That's incredible. I love that. My last question for Roving After Dark. If you had like one night in Paris, like what would you do?
Oh my gosh, this is a tough one. I guess first going to a really good dinner. One restaurant that I love is La Creole. They have like the best Caribbean food. So I'd probably go there and then I'd probably catch the light show of the Eiffel Tower. So I can't remember
Gorgeous.
exactly what time it starts, but there's like a period of time where like the lights on the Eiffel Tower, like they light up the Eiffel Tower and it's so pretty. So I'd probably
I
do
think it
that.
happens at midnight. I don't know if it happens more than once a night, but I've seen it at midnight.
I can't remember. Like I saw it so long ago. Like I have not seen it like in a lot like years, but I definitely would do that. I haven't done that in a while. So
Oh, I love that.
that would be my perfect night.
The last time I was in Paris, we went I love Le Avenue.
Oh, I actually haven't been there. That's where like
Oh,
Kay goes every time she comes.
can I tell you, it is worth the splurge. It is so good.
Okay.
It is so good. And it's right near, I would say it's pretty close to the Eiffel Tower. And so I think like when my mom and I were there, we went for dinner and then we like walked to the Eiffel Tower and we like saw the light show. It's so pretty.
I
It's so
love that.
great.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I have to get back to Paris soon.
Yes.
It's such like a magical, gorgeous city. Like
Mhm.
I'm so jealous that you live there. Do you have any plans of leaving Paris? Like, do you think you'll be there for the long term, like future or
Yeah, I get this question a lot. I mean, right now, Paris feels like home. Like, I
I
really
love that.
don't see myself leaving anytime soon. Like, I have my friends here, I have my apartment here. It's like, I just feel so comfortable here, which is crazy because it's like it's a completely different culture. I'm still learning the
Yeah.
language, but I love it. So, no plans to leave anytime soon.
Does your family have they come to visit at all?
So they came once for my graduation when I graduated from my
Amazing.
MBA. Because my parents, it's like they love to travel, but they're more of like, let's go vacation in the Caribbean type of thing. Because half
I
of my
feel that.
family's from my dad, yeah, like my dad's side of the family is from the island. So that's kind of their thing. Like this whole like venturing out to Europe is like totally like foreign to them. But they did come out for my graduation, which was really nice. And we did a few touristy things and I took them to some of my favorite places. So that was really cool.
What was their reaction when you're like, I want to go to Paris?
Oh my God. My dad was like, absolutely not. He
It's
was
like
like,
it's too
no.
far from us.
But for them, because also I had right after college, I had moved to San Francisco. Then I had moved to New York. And like when I moved to New York, my parents were like, you better not move again. Like, this is crazy. Like, you keep moving. And then 2 years later, I was like, I want to go to Paris.
Oh my
So they were
gosh.
just like, what is wrong with this girl? And I think that they were just like, wow, like we don't know anyone in Paris. Like we don't know anyone else who's moved to Paris. So I
Totally.
think that they were more so worried about like, will you
The
have a
unknown.
support system there? Like,
Yeah.
what if anything happens type of thing. But I made it work.
Classic parents like who are like we don't like god forbid something happened like who are you going to call like we need like you to have
Right.
like a contact there just in case.
Exactly. Exactly.
But that's so amazing that like I'm sure they're supportive of all of it now and love like seeing like how happy you are there and how much you love it.
Yeah. Like now they're good. Now they're good.
It
But
was the
like,
initial shock that had to wear off.
right. Like the first year, they were just like, girl, like, what is happening?
They're
But
like
now they're
come
good.
home.
Right. Right. Totally.
thank you so, so much for being on the show. I am so happy that I met you, and I can't believe that I even had you on the podcast. It's incredible. So everyone, if you want to sign up for Tiffanie's classes, she is giving you tips and tricks of how to actually make your dreams come true and move abroad.
Yeah, so I just launched a course to help people move abroad. So it's called Get Over Your Ish and Plan Your Move Abroad. And it's a course that allows you to plan and organize your move abroad and take actionable steps towards a life that you want to live. Because I made the move to San Francisco, New York, and Paris, and I'm just like, I have all of this knowledge and know what's worked for me. So figured I'd help other people, make that transition if it is something that they want to do.
It's incredible because so many people have trouble pulling the actual trigger, but then will regret not moving when they're older. They're like, why didn't I do this back in the day? Like, I should have done this, but they never actually pull the trigger. So I think it's an incredible way to tell people, like, this is how I did it and this is how you could do it. Just you have to take her course and find out all her tips and tricks of the trade. So thank you, Tiffanie. You can follow Tiffanie on Instagram at It's Tiffanie Davis. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Stay tuned to see where we end up next. Goodbye. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave a review. And as always, follow us on Instagram at OneInRobesPod. And while you're there, you might as well follow me at Carly Consker. See you next time.